What's the difference between a golfer and a skydiver? A golfer only screams when things are going badly. Now, let's tee off with a story that's sure to bring a smirk to your face. Picture this, two golfers ready to take on the 11th hole. Just as they're about to swing, they notice a hearse and a funeral procession passing by. The first golfer, let's call him John, stops mid-swing, doffs his cap, and bows his head in solemn respect as the procession passes. Now, the second golfer, let's call him Bob, watches this whole display rather surprised. When the last of the mourners have passed, he turns to John and says, "That was a really nice thing to do. It's good to see there is still some respect in the world." John, still watching the procession disappear into the distance, replies, "Well, it's only right." Bob nods, agreeing with his friend's sentiments. But then John adds, "I was married to her for 35 years. Did you see that twist coming? You see, golf isn't just about the perfect swing or the right club. It's about the unexpected moments of humor, the camaraderie, the shared stories, and sometimes the shared ex-wives. It's a reminder that even in the face of loss, there's room for a bit of levity. John, our golfer, knew this well. He recognized the solemnity of the moment, but couldn't resist adding his own unique punchline. It's a testament to the enduring spirit of golfers, always ready to take life's unexpected bunkers in stride and with a grain of salt. So remember, folks, always show respect. You never know who might be watching. Ever notice how golf and marriage sometimes feel similar? You're always trying for a hole-in-one, but usually end up in the rough. Speaking of which, here's a little tale about a married couple discussing their future. One quiet evening, the wife turns to her husband and asks, "Babe, if I die, will you marry again?" The husband, taken aback, quickly responds, "Of course not." But the wife isn't easily convinced. She insists, "I think you would." Begrudgingly, the husband admits, "Fine, I probably will." The conversation takes a turn as the wife questions, "Will you let her sleep in our bed?" The husband, a bit uncomfortable, replies, "Yeah, probably, I guess." But then comes the real test. The wife, with a twinkle in her eye, asks, "Would you even let her use my golf clubs?" The husband, without missing a beat, declares, "No way, she is left-handed." So, in the grand scheme of things, it turns out that a set of golf clubs holds more sanctity than a marital bed. A classic case of priorities, wouldn't you agree? But then again, if you're a golf enthusiast, you'll understand. The bond between a golfer and their clubs is sacred. It's a bond that even outlasts matrimony. So, remember, it's all fun and games until someone touches your golf clubs. You know you're a golfer when you think PUTT before PUT. Speaking of which, let's dive into a little story about a junior golfer and their first golf lesson. Imagine a sunny afternoon on a lush green golf course. A young, eager golfer, barely tall enough to reach the top of their own golf bag, is ready for their first lesson. They are brimming with questions, their curiosity as bright as the sun above. The junior golfer turns to their instructor, a grin on their face and a sparkle in their eye, and asks, "Is the word spelled P-U-T or P-U-T-T?" A simple question, yet one that holds the essence of golf. The instructor, a seasoned golfer with years of experience under their belt, smiles back and replies, "P-U-T-T is correct." The young golfer's face lights up, but the instructor isn't done yet. P-U-T, they explain, means to place a thing where you want it. P-U-T-T, on the other hand, means merely a futile attempt to do the same thing. The junior golfer's eyes widen. They're beginning to understand the nuances of the game, the delicate balance between precision and luck, between wanting and achieving. This is golf, a game where every stroke counts, every word matters, and every lesson is a step closer to mastery. Isn't it funny how one letter can make a world of difference in golf? Golf is a game with a lot of rules, but some of them only make sense to the locals. Enter our protagonist, an American citizen on vacation in Ireland. He decides to play a round of golf and finds himself paired with 3 local players. With a few practice swings under his belt, he steps up to the first tee and with a mighty swing, hooks the ball out of bounds. Shaking his head at the unfortunate start, he reaches into his pocket and re-tees another ball. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, in golf, a mulligan is a second chance to perform an action, usually after the first chance went wrong through bad luck or a blunder. It's kind of like a do-over. So, Our American golfer, deciding to take this second chance, informs his playing partners that he's taking a mulligan. With renewed determination, he takes another swing and sends the ball soaring down the center of the fairway. A big smile spreads across his face as he turns to his companions and says, "In the States, we call that a mulligan. What do you call it here in Ireland?" A moment of silence follows. Then, one of the locals, with a twinkle in his eye and a hint of mischief in his voice, replies, "Hitting 3. So, the next time you find yourself playing a round of golf in a foreign land, remember that local rules may vary. And while a mulligan might save you a stroke in the States, in Ireland, it seems you're just hitting 3. Remember, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. When in Ireland, you're hitting 3. Keeping score in golf can sometimes feel like a math test. This couldn't be truer for John and Bob, two of the fiercest rivals at their club. Their rivalry was so intense, they didn't trust each other's scorekeeping. During a particularly heated match, they were watching each other like hawks. After the 4th hole, John marked down his 6 and turned to Bob, asking, "What'd you have?" Bob, after a moment of mental calculation, replied, "6. No, wait, a 5. Without missing a beat, John marked the scorecard, saying aloud, "8. Bob was baffled. "8? I couldn't have had 8. John shook his head. "Indeed, you claimed 6, then corrected to 5, but you actually had 7. As Bob questioned why 8 was marked, John replied, "1 stroke penalty for improving your lie." So remember, honesty is always the best policy, especially on the golf course. Sometimes the best part of golf is simply the drive. Now let's dive into a story that brings a whole new meaning to this sentiment. Picture this: a group of seasoned golfers are wrapping up their game, reminiscing about their long drives and impressive shots. They're using all kinds of golf jargon, but one term stands out: a rider. Now this piques the curiosity of another golfer who's been listening in. He's been playing golf for years, but he's never heard of a rider. So he decides to approach the pro, asking, "What's a rider?" The pro, with a cheeky grin on his face, responds, "A rider is when you hit the ball far enough to actually get in the golf cart and ride to it." And just like that, the golfer learns a new term and a hilarious new perspective on those long drives. So, remember, in golf, it's all about the ride. And there you have it, folks, a few golf jokes to lighten up your day. From the respectful husband at the funeral, to the left-handed second wife conundrum, the confusion of a beginner, local rules in Ireland, to the rivalry at the club, and lastly, the mystery of a rider. These moments remind us of the lighter side of golf. Remember, golf is a game meant to be enjoyed, so don't forget to laugh, even when you're in the bunker.